What is Greenville for you?
I don't know if I can sum it in one sentence. If I had to say what Greenville is to me, 3 years ago, I never called Greenville home. We would say, we're going to go visit family back at home, referring to Winston-Salem. And now we say, Greenville's home. We're going to go visit family. So for us, Greenville has become home. And I feel like there's more to that. It's because the people here, we have friends, loved ones now. But yeah, Greenville's become home.
What was the question that made you cry?
They were asking me why I got into Flea Feet, like what brought me to Flea Feet. And I was letting them know about the story about when I went to go, like my first day on the job. And I started working at Flea Feet in Winston-Salem, and I had zero retail kind of knowledge. I kind of just didn't like the job I had. I had a full-time job, and it was just something that was miserable to me. So I was like, I'm just going to quit. So I started working at Flea Feet, and they're like, hey, your first day, we need you to go set up at a 5K. We're going to help at a water stop. And I got home, and I was telling my wife, I was like, hey, I don't know what a 5K is, and I don't even know what a water stop is, which is kind of funny because that's what we do all the time now. So anyways, I'm out there passing out water to all these people, kind of enjoying the experience, and the race was benefiting Susan G. Komen, and so breast cancer survivors. Essentially, there's 12,000 runners in the whole race, runners, walkers, and as all these people came running through, you start getting to the middle of the pack and the back of the pack, and you start seeing all these breast cancer survivors and or people that were running in honor of a loved one that died of breast cancer. And in that moment, I could just had this wave of emotion come over me. It's like, this is truly what this is about. Like, sometimes 5Ks can get forgotten about because so many people want to place, get awards, all that stuff. And the point of them is to raise awareness for the nonprofit that is benefiting, or some people want to run in honor of something. And sometimes that can be lost in all the commotion of a race. So yeah, here we were, all these people that some of them, you could tell they're going through chemo, they didn't have hair, and I don't know, it was just, in the moment, I'm starting to get chills thinking about it, because in that moment, and I realized, this is what I'm called to do. For some reason, I felt like this is what I was supposed to do in life. And I went home and I told my wife, I was like, I think I found out what I'm supposed to do in life. And she's like, you're still crazy, it's a shoe store. She thought it was a phase, that I was just going to go find another job. But here we are.
And what makes you keep going?
That's where I would probably insert my faith a little bit into this, into the conversation. That was the root or the driving force to even have us even move to Greenville. Our family's from Winston-Salem. And we had this calling to feel that we were supposed to do something different with our lives. So we're at a church service, and the church service kind of spoke to us about how we need to go do something impactful. And God's calling you to go do that. And you just got to be comfortable knowing that that's what He's asking you to do. So we did. So we moved to Greenville, and you're right, a lot of flea feeds, a lot of running stores, or just businesses in general. They just and it's hard being a business owner. There's so many responsibilities, and yeah, we have a product, we have a service that we provide. Always strive for us to have some of the best customer service in the city. But like I said, we were called to make an impact. And for us to make an impact, in my mind, we got to go outside the four walls. We got to meet people where they're at, hold those social runs where they can, if you ever come to a pub run on a Wednesday, there's quite a few couples that are married couples, because that's their night out. They come to go do a group run with us, and they go have a drink, get dinner while they're out. So for us, it's just making that impact outside the four walls, fostering a community. Because I guess at the end of the day, the motto for Flea Feet is running changes everything. And the beginning of the story, how I got into it, was that I was just asked to go to help out at a 5K.
It changed your life.
And it changed my life. And then here we are now, and the idea, getting chills talking about it, the ripple effect that's happening even in Greenville, North Carolina, which started out in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, all because I just took a part-time job, is now rippling, and now we're able to make impacts on our community through donations. And as you were saying, all the group runs, community partners, whether if you support us in the store and you don't come to a run, we still donate 1% of our sales to community partners and all of that. And I guess the motivation at the end of the day is I feel like we've been called to make an impact, and in my heart, that's what I feel like I'm instructed to do in the ways we do it, and that's why we do it.
You look like a very compassionate person. Is it difficult to be a compassionate person?
The store I worked for in Winston-Salem, we did it a lot where we fit shoes on homeless people. And the homeless community, when it comes to just health, as we know, they don't have the support system for that. But foot health for those people is probably what people don't know. Most of them usually have some toes missing. I remember very clearly the first person I ever really helped had half his foot amputated, and it was from blisters. And for us in our world, if you talk about blisters and running, we're like, hey, it's because you got a cotton sock. Maybe you need to have a performance-based sock, and that's why we carry these. But in a homeless person's world, or someone that is less fortunate, or what have you, a cotton sock's all they know. And cotton causes abrasion. Abrasion leads to blisters, and if he's diabetic, then it's going to just lead to ulcers and then amputations. So I remember in that world, how bad or how to what you're saying, like you just like are like brought back because you forget how you take something for granted. Like I get to wear a performance-based sock every day because that's my sock. And anyway, so fast forward to us being in town here, we wanted to start doing that in town as well. So we go to the soup kitchen once a year. We're actually going to go in June and do another fitting. And same, those people, like when you give them a brand new shoe or sometimes gently worn shoe, they cry. Because for most of them, they've never experienced something, one, so comfortable, something, again, we take for granted. And then two, just the fact that you're just giving them this, in our world, $140 shoe, and you're like, here you go.
And taking care.
Right, and doing the same concept as if they came in the store. We sit down with them, we actually give them a brand new performance-based sock, make sure it's the right fit, the right support, all that stuff. Or if you transition the compassionate side to some of the runs that we do, right? Or the 5Ks, and they benefit certain people that have been sick or what have you. For me, at the end of it, it's just perspective, right? You just use that. When I go home, I just sit there and just love my kids probably way more than I should, but because I just love my kids, I want them to know that their dad loves them. Because also I don't know how to say it. I want them to grow up in a world where they feel loved and they don't have to feel struggle and pain and all that stuff. And again, we're fortunate to be able to do that. And but then again, I guess I'm probably compassionate at home. I don't know if I can turn that off. If you're saying that I come across like that.
You're not turning it off. Which is tough, but it's important for everyone around you. How psychology and surf and Brew Cycle, former Brew Cycle, how it all happened in your life?
Yeah, so psychology, indoor cycle studio for us, actually in February of 2020. So the timeline will kind of make sense. My wife and I were talking about, hey, we should open up a cycle studio. And our operations manager who works for us, Rachel, she's like, that's actually a really good idea. And then if you fast forward a month, that's when COVID happened. And we were like, well, I'm glad we didn't pursue that, right? We would have been, but then coming out of COVID, of course, more people were running, and that obviously, or just being active in general, obviously that helped the Fleet Feet side. But then we're like, hey, we still saw a need because at the time, a lot of the gyms in our town sold a lot of their bikes. And for us, we also felt like it balances who we offer. So we offer a lot of stuff to all of our running programs are for runners high impact. But we get a lot of customers that I can't run anymore. I got knee pain and all this stuff. So we this would be an awesome way to balance out the two. And then at the same time, serve the coffee shop, formerly the Brew Cycle. Like the Brew Cycle, the idea was it was actually supposed to be the whole cycle studio and coffee shop was one business. But we ended up breaking them apart for a few reasons. Business stuff, if people that are into taxes and all that, they probably understand that more than me. But we broke them apart, and I think it was the right way because it allowed us to bring the word serve alive. So serve is our mission on the Fleet Feet side. That is Stands for serve humbly, just like the way Jesus would do it. Educate our community and customers, whether it's on products, goods, services, events, nonprofits. We run together as a community, so we always want to make all of our events and all that inclusive, so people just feel welcome, whether they're a beginner runner, a walker, whatever it may be. The more important one to me is we value the act of giving, and it doesn't have to be monetary, but for us it's monetary, but also our time, so volunteering, and then empower our community. Like, that is the acronym that we use, that is our mission, that's our vision, that's where our staff embodies. We want servant-minded individuals in our store. So, like I said, it allowed us to bring that to life through a coffee shop.
You found the right word.
That's right. It totally makes sense.
That's it.
That's it. So we're like, hey, on top of that, let's use this as another way or another means to benefit our community through almost the same thing, community partner concepts, and all that. And they both, having it all in one roof, you think as a business owner that gets the blessing to own all three, that's the right move. But sometimes I wish that they were in separate areas that allow me to move around. But at the end of the day, it's fun. It's community. If you're here on a Saturday where we have a cycling class at 9 a.m. that is full, we have group runs, we have 2 to 3 groups that meet here on Saturday and go run, and then they're all in here having coffee and just community. And that's the whole point of this coffee space, was to allow people to go run with a friend or meet up here with their bikes and ride on the Greenway or take a class. Someone
who is like-minded, like you have the same type of interests.
That's right.
You want to be healthy, you love coffee, you love to interact with people, have certain type of conversations. So I think it's amazing. Like, you join in the club, actually, but not paying any fees.
That's right. That's right.
But it's amazing to find your people and be surrounded with like-minded people.
That's right.
Yeah. I think it's amazing that you created here. It's like a whole different culture, lifestyle, a club.
Yeah. Some
which
people
is
call it a cult.
open to everyone.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
And I think it's amazing.
Thank you.